Why do you like records so much?
You have this tangible thing right there in front of you. I love that. I have something for you. You are now recording the very first song on our mixtape.
You're gonna think I'm crazy.
No, I won't. What?
I'm from the future.
Like hoverboard future?
I'm not kidding. You're gonna die. I don't really know how to say this without sounding crazy, but I can travel through time.
How is this even possible?
I don't know, but every time I play a song on the mixtape, it takes me back in time to the moment we first heard it together.
Laura?
How am I here?
What are you talking about? What?
You're alive.
I heard people say that music transcends space and time, but I've always thought it was just a metaphor.
I don't know how much time we have left. We have a chance to save you. We have to be careful.
I'll just change the things that happen on the day that I die.
The universe has a plan. You can't deviate from that plan. Maybe you're not meant to save it. Most people only get one shot being with the person they love. You've been given two.
I can't just sit here with a second chance and just let him die.
Wait a minute.
I have to try.
You really think it's the only way?
Nothing else has worked. As long as you're alive, I'll be okay. See you in the future.
I don't know who
You
I am.
can.
Are you Greg?
I am Greg.
Well, you got a real setup there too.
I do.
I have this too, but it's not set up right now.
Which one do you got?
Not as good as yours, I'm sure. Do you have a podcast?
I don't have a podcast. I just I'm a huge fan of I guess audio. You know, if it if a movie sounds good, then it's gonna look good.
Well, for
Usually.
sure. Right. And you know, audiences can put up with almost anything visually, but when it comes to audio,
True.
they can't hear your movie well. For
They won't like it. They won't
they're
like
not
it.
gonna no, you can right. So audio
Or it could be the reverse. If you got a really loud movie, you know, you're not going to be able to hear some of the dialogue. You know.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's auto. I mean, inaudibility is an inaudibility regardless of
Yeah.
volume. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
wait, so where's your monitor? Because you're looking up.
My monitor's right here, and my monitor's right here, and the camera's right here.
Right. Okay.
So
So
I
maybe
have,
try to make a point of making eye contact with the camera once in a while, just so.
It's a little bit out of view. I can like move everything down, and then I'm like talking like this. You're kind of close to the area.
That's better. Yeah, even that's a little bit better. Just because
Okay.
give the eye line issue. You know, I once had a guy. He's a lovely guy. He's a he's a Kiwi filmmaker, and he was his mom. So he's like, because I don't know if I also put the video up. I don't know if you're aware, but I use it for the YouTube channel. But it'll be fine.
Patrick told me a little bit, so I'm prepared for the shenanigans.
Oh, they're shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, maybe from him. Maybe from him.
Right. No. We enjoy each other's company. You know, this will be his third visit.
Yeah, that's what he told me. He said that he's enjoyed it so much he's come back. For,
third
time.
I love bringing people back over and over. It's one of the definite perks or benefits of doing something like this is that you kind of do create a sort of a community. I mean, honestly, I would just have the same 20, 30 people on all the time, but I kind of like this idea of rotating regular guests, but
having more people on, a diverse group of people.
That's part of it too. Is you want to keep it diverse and all. But
the thing that you're doing well with it is like Patrick's bringing on a guest. I would imagine every single time he comes.
Yeah, but
on,
that's not typical.
That's not typical.
No, I mean, I would love to have more like ambassadors like that who would act as conduits and bring on people. That it happens once in a while, but it's and it's usually editors. Yeah. My friend Michael Taylor, who is an editor, he's done that too. He's sort of helped bring on people, which is really nice.
There he is.
But because it's
perfectly on time. Like
exactly,
almost to the T. He was probably hovering over.
No, I was having.
Look at this guy. He's outside.
Jesus, but you can't wear sunglasses. Is the sun? Is the sun?
What's going on?
Is the sun right at you?
Wait, hold on.
I got an umbrella right here.
Is the sun in your eyes?
I also have a cigar.
That you can do.
How you been?
Who you talking to?
We talk
Adam,
pretty frequently.
Oh, I've been good. How you been?
Very good. Yeah, just been very busy with work and with the baby, and she's now 3. So
I think the first time we met,
my wife was pregnant.
Oh, she was still pregnant. Wow.
Yeah.
So
yep.
So this podcast, we could always just change the idea, the theme, or rather the structure of it. Instead of being like a film interview format show, it's really just following your child through their development.
How many children does Patrick have? That's the name of the podcast.
Just one.
Just one.
My one just graduated high school the other day. So
yeah, I saw that. That's cool.
That was fast.
Congratulations.
I will say
very quickly.
It really does. Yeah, it's a cliche, but for a good reason. It's hard to imagine. Greg. That's who I was talking to when you logged on. My son was having an argument with his mother because we found out that he skipped a few classes.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But he passed everything and he got his diploma and whatever. So
that's good.
But yeah. And the other thing I should divulge at the top here is that today I went to get my second booster.
Okay.
And while I was there, they talked me into getting the first shingles as well.
Oh God.
So
oh no.
Yeah. So I was like laid on my back about 5 minutes ago. I was like, how am I going to do this? I was so exhausted.
I don't think you're supposed to get 2 at the same time, are you?
No, they do. It's
really?
Yeah. They just said you might be a
wild.
little tired tomorrow, but I'm like, it's not even tomorrow, and I'm ready for my nappy time. But I'm sitting up and I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm fine. But so
that's good.
But please, humor me if I start to get a little bit fuzzy or something. Have patience.
No, I get it. I got my booster last weekend, the second booster.
Oh, okay, great.
And that put me down for a good 24, 48 hours. It was a fun spell.
Oh, really?
So,
you had a real strong reaction. Which one was it? Can I ask?
It was Pfizer.
Okay.
But it's so funny because everybody reacts differently to it.
Right.
Because my mom had the same reaction that I did, and my dad, I called him before getting the first booster, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, how was the booster? Did everything go okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, no, I had nothing." And then I should have talked to my mom because my mom had the same reaction that I had after getting it, and so both parents get different reactions to it. The reason I'm sticking with Pfizer is because they've gotten Pfizer every single time, so it's predictable gene outcomes supposedly.
Well, in my case, I had been getting Moderna through the first 3, and then I work in a radio station in the Hudson Valley, and right next door there's a CVS, and I was trying to use that one so I could just make it easy. And it turns out that the reason why I couldn't schedule them was because I kept selecting Moderna, and they don't do Moderna at that particular drugstore. They only do 5. So they said, but you can switch it up. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I think I did read that now they're interchangeable or whatever. So I went and I got the Pfizer today because I could just walk a few feet over. It's literally the next building. And
what time did you get it at?
At 10 o'clock.
How long ago?
10 o'clock.
5 hours ago?
No, more like 8 hours ago now. Yeah.
Okay, so you're in
But-
you're hitting that.
Yeah,
I know exactly where you're at right now.
but I don't feel. I just feel a little. I just felt a little sleepy, but that's it.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad. Otherwise, I don't feel any different than ever. I just feel like I could do. Well, a nap would be nice, But
Nice.
Anyway.
Yeah, nap would be nice.
But I sometimes feel that way regardless. So it's not. Hi guys.
How's it going?
Hey.
Should we start here? We can start here. But maybe
you want.
Patrick knows I will sometimes just leave all that in. Just 10 minutes of talk about whatever life. I kind of like that though, because it's
people
sort
like
of
that stuff, right?
I think they do, because it's sort of like here's what because the taking
Humanize it
down
a little bit.
right, and also the removing this idea of the the artificiality of doing an interview, where it's what I mean, where it's also just like kind of a conversation. I mean, also.
Yeah.
But this is the name of the movie's called Press Play.
It's also in black
I
and
didn't
white.
print it in color. What?
The movie's in black and white. As
just like no, I
Just
printed
like the
that.
poster.
It's we'll just get out of the way right now that it's going to be available, right, digitally, streaming.
Yep.
And on demand too.
Yeah, it's it's on demand right now.
That's right, as of the 24th.
With select theaters. Yeah.
And it's in select theaters.
Yes.
Is it playing, let's say, in Hawaii?
I've been trying to get them to get a theater to over there, but so far there hasn't been any luck.
Takes place in Hawaii. That's why.
It does. Yeah, it does take place in Hawaii.
Smart man.
That was
and
right where you want to go, I guess. Right,
Patrick, you're the editor of the film, but sometimes the editor is on the set too, because they may be actually creating a what do you call when you're
an editor's cut, or
well, no, I'm trying to think, like assembly. Yeah. Were you doing that on the set? Did you get over to Hawaii?
I was in Hawaii and brought the whole family. So my daughter was like 5 months old, and she got to go in a pool and swim in the ocean for the first time in Hawaii.
Nice.
So she's ruined for life.
How did she take to the water?
Loved it. We had a little baby shark floaty thing that she could sit in. It looks like she was in the jaws of the shark. It was
I like to
fun.
see that. Well, we'll show that. Let's show the photo.
Yeah, I can.
There it is.
I can pull it
up. Well, we'll do that. I'll put it in afterwards. People can see her. What's her name again?
Sophia.
Okay. Press play, rewind, and love again. Okay, so this is a kind of one of these. I guess if there is a sub genre, right, Greg, of kind of like desperate lovers who are, for whatever reason, are discuss the movie, right? It's not a.
You froze there for me for a second, so I missed.
I know. I noticed that. I thought maybe you were just bored with my rambling. You're like, but it's not a spoiler to say what happens, right?
Right, correct. It's in the trailer, so it's already out there.
Of course. How would you possibly? You show like 3 minutes
that.
of
the
setup.
You have other problems.
Yeah, like you showed the day, because it's this young woman, and I want to make sure I get all the names right, of course. Laura, played by Clara Rugard.
Correct.
Right, she is the main character here, and her best friend, and I love this family. It's such a contemporary family that her friends, and her best friend's stepbrother, she sets her up with her. So Laura's best friend sets her up with her stepbrother, and named Harrison, played by Lewis Pullman, who's the other star of the film. And the two, of course, meet cute, fall in love. He works at a music shop at a record store, right, for his dad, played by some obscure actor I've never heard of named Danny Glover.
It's quite obscure.
Yeah.
Little movie,
and
Gumbo Drop from the 90s. I think he was in Angels in the Outfield. Yeah, you ever seen? Yeah, those are very small Disney. Also, that Lethal Weapon movie, I think, too. Right?
I'm not familiar with that. Sounds good.
I think it's a series, even.
Oh, they did do that, didn't they? They made it.
Yeah, they did.
I think they made a few.
It's a franchise. That's what you do.
That's what it's called. Yes,
it's a franchise. Anyway, so, and in this music shop, and I'm almost done, and then you can interrupt and take over and correct or modify accordingly. But there is a collection of mixtapes that have been left by people, right, over the years, that they've or that have been turned up, I guess, over the years.
Yeah.
So, and they're both like meat of this idea of like actually making a hand-picked series of songs on a physical cassette. It's quite a concept. Right? Well, did this take place in the 90s? I forget.
It did not. It takes
no,
place
it is
modern
retro.
day. It is retro, but I think because recently vinyl records and all analog media are kind of becoming more popular the past couple of years. Like vinyls come back, cassettes have come back, CDs are more popular because the sound quality is better than streaming, or at least some streaming services. It takes place modern day, and it's kind of got that nostalgia factor to people who grew up in the 80s and 90s and 70s as well.
Yeah. But there's some people, like the two characters in your film, which is called, of course, Press Play. Did I mention that? Patrick, you're not you're not keeping me on point. Why are you here if you're not good? I can't even.
Yeah,
Patrick, take off your sunglasses.
The movie.
Yeah, there you are.
Gosh, right.
We're not that bright. Come on.
But these are two. There's like what's lovely about them is they're kind of they love simple. They're not pretentious people. These two young people. They're full of heart, and I think there's an old world quality to them that they love this thing together. These mixtapes that they get it.
Yeah. They're definitely. I think it's interesting that that the two characters, love this old, it's not a relic anymore because it's become popular, but like having something to hold in your hand is something that we don't have a lot of these days. Like there's so much social media, digital pictures, right? It almost devalues a little bit of the art that prior generations have had. And so it's kind of almost a throwback to that, like having two characters that have found this passion and this love of something that's a substance, because like they're literally creating a mixtape together, and it makes it more about it makes it more personal for the two of them.
It's hard to imagine one time traveling as a result of a Spotify playlist. True. How would you do that? So that's kind of the next part of it, but we don't have to go into much more detail. I mean, let's just say time travel and desperate, endless love is a part of the movie. These two guys, and they have a really nice chemistry, which is nice. These two actors.
They do. Yeah.
So
they actually
kudos.
only met. They met 10 days prior to filming. That was the first time they ever met, and so.
And they're a couple now.
They're not together. No, actors. They.
I understand they're acting.
They display the relationship on screen quite well.
Right, and you can fake it. Apparently, it turns out like there are lots of movies where there's like raging chemistry on screen, but that the two
they actually hate each other. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that could be part of a passion too, right? So maybe.
Yeah. I mean, don't they say that love and hate are very related
in line.
in the human brain or something like that. I don't know. I'm making
there's a thin line.
Yeah, there's a thin line between the two.
Yeah. I worked on How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson did not like each other.
Really?
Yes, but they had great chemistry together on screen.
I'll take your word for it.
But they were, he would do stuff like he knew he had a kissing scene, so he'd like smoke a cigarette before he did the kissing scene, just to like mess with
that's hostile.
That's awful.
All right, here. I'm gonna have myself smoke now for sure.
Oh my goodness.
I can do better. Wait, who is the co-star? Kate Hudson. Oh,
Kate Hudson, yeah.
Well, I don't know her, and I'm not going to say that what I'm about to say is accurate, but I've heard things, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not a gossip show. But I would like to see Laura, the character Clara, rather, and Lewis become an item because I thought they were very cute.
And Lewis Pullman is Bill Pullman's son.
Right. I mean, of course, I didn't know if you were aware of that, Patrick.
He's he looks a lot like him, I think.
He does, now that you mention it.
Very similar.
Yeah. And Louis, Bill was on this program.
Oh, nice.
Was he?
Yeah, I did a show. I'm trying to remember the name of the film, but I had Bill Pullman on, and wow, that was fun meeting him. He has such a specific way of talking.
Speaking of three people who create a movie, we've got the writer trying to give me a call.
Put him on.
Now.
No, put him on.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Put him on. Why not? He's Zoom bombing.
Ringing.
Yeah. You can call him back and just tell him he's on a podcast, and we'll get his. This is going to be, ladies and gentlemen, this is a first.
Let's see, Patrick. Let's see if he answers.
Is it James Batchelor?
It's James. Hey, are you busy right now?
Are you dressed?
Is he dressed? You're at work. You're at work.
Say hello though.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm in the middle of a podcast with Patrick and Adam, who's hosting us, and they saw.
Say hello.
I mentioned that you were calling, and they said you should answer and have James on the podcast as well.
Like, ask him to give one comment about making the film or something, and then I can put him in and give him a credit.
James, could you make a comment real quick about the experience of making something in Hawaii?
Just about making it in Hawaii specifically, or
is it written specifically for James? James, hi. This is Adam.
James, can you hear Adam at all?
Yeah, I can hear. It's a little quiet, but I can.
Oh, okay. The question I would have is: did you write this story? Would it always take place in Hawaii?
It wasn't always set in Hawaii initially. We knew we wanted it to be surf centric, so we knew it had to be near a beach and in a community where there was a lot of surfing. And it didn't take long though for us to sort of hone in on Hawaii, because it's such a part of the culture, and it just fit the story so well.
I've told people previously that I started wearing or like using Hawaiian shampoos subconsciously when we were writing. And
I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, it was just it was like me willing it into existence. I'm not sure.
Well, I think also even when we were when it got to the point of taking the story out, I remember that was about the time that we really started to talk about it being Hawaii, because you were sort of pulling reference images and things for what you saw the vision of the story to be, and a lot of those sort of took place in Hawaii. I think you were using a lot of images from The Descendants and things like that as sort of inspirational sort of look, and I think that sort of continued to hone us into Hawaii as well.
Yeah, those kind of films set tones that I think we wanted to set with ours as well. So I guess Hawaii has the tone that we needed.
That was a beautiful.
I don't
movie.
Want to keep you. Adam just said it was a beautiful movie,
but he's not the cinematographer. But
thank you.
You're welcome. No, thank you for calling in. The next caller is cinematographer
from Poughkeepsie.
Right. I don't want to keep you, but I'll check whatever you sent to me.
Okay, great. Sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
All right, and nice meeting you.
See you, James.
Thank you.
See you, James.
Bye.
That was nice. I wish that happened.
Funny.
I wish that
That's
happened
so
more
funny.
frequently.
You've had 3 guests on your show today. That's that's pretty cool. Yeah, Patrick, we were talking earlier that I said that you get a lot of diverse people coming in, and it helps when Patrick brings a new person on every single time, and Adam made the comment that that doesn't always happen. So
No,
I mean,
not usually. And you know, I really like the idea of almost like a co-host, like a like Patrick. You can come on
Yeah.
anytime. You don't have,
Oh
if
yeah,
you wanted to,
awesome.
you just have to watch a lot of movies. You know, it's a
Awesome.
terrible thing to have to do.
little known secret, Patrick actually hates movies.
Spread it around.
Yeah, he hates it with a passion. That's why he's, you know, the love and the hate thing are very, very close.
But you know what I do love?
Oscar-winning
Hawaii.
Exactly.
Now, Patrick, you are just to also wedge this in, and we'll get back to Press Play, which again opens June. It's already in select theaters. It's already available on demand, and it's going to stream.
It should be streaming. Yes,
It's also streaming. We have to, let's check. No, and then so it's available now. You can go from the, when this is over, I'm giving you permission, if you're watching or listening, you can go to any those platforms and watch Press Play. Patrick, though, my question, I guess, was going to be, you were involved in an Oscar-winning movie, but you were nominated as an editor, but you didn't win?
I was nominated but did not win.
But the film won.
The film won Best Picture, yes.
Right. And not to emphasize that you didn't win an Oscar. I don't mean to do that.
No, of course.
But you were nominated, which of course is always
pretty
enough.
Amazing.
Which
Pretty
is
amazing.
yeah. And so now, you know, how did you, Greg, how did you come to meet Patrick? Did you collaborate on your earlier film with him, or did you?
So this is a very strange back and forth. So throughout my career, there's been an editor that's been involved with my career just by the fact that he's had an impact on it. I originally entered into editorial because my resume was submitted to an editor by another editor, and that editor's name is John Axelrad. So John found my resume at one point. Yeah. So he found my resume at one point, forwarded it to Rob Sullivan, who ultimately hired me on Stuck in Love, which was Josh Boone's first movie, and I stuck with them for a few years.
Josh is a producer on Press Play.
Josh is a producer on this.
Right.
And he actually, this side story we'll get to in a second, where he actually was the one who gifted me this idea. But he basically said, he sent my resume over, not knowing who I was, where, and he actually doesn't recall sending my resume over to Rob. And then, you know, a couple years go by, and I work on New Mutants and with Josh, and I meet this guy named Jared Simon, who's a fantastic assistant editor. And so knowing that John has made a huge impact on my career, I wanted to make an impact on John's career by saying, you should hire this guy. He's the best assistant editor you'll ever meet. And so I pointed him in Jared's direction. And then, in typical back and forth fashion, I go to John later and I say, hey, John, I have this movie and I'm looking for an editor. Do you know anyone? And he gives me Patrick's name. And
lucky you.
Yeah. And so he was like, you'll get along with him. You've got similar sensibilities.
I can't imagine
He's a funny
not.
guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I emailed him the script. Patrick replied. We had coffee. He seemed like a wacky weirdo of a guy, but charming, and like knew his shit, and like, you know, was a nice guy. And I was like, this is the type of person that I want to spend 7 months of my life with, at least.
And meanwhile, he only needed like a month to edit the film. So Patrick's like, why are you hanging out 6 more months with me? I've got things to do.
So we met. I liked him. I was like, Patrick, I would love for you to work on this if you'd be so kind. And then he said yes. Little did we know, we had actually run into each other the previous Ace Eddie Awards, because I was invited because Jared, my friend, had cut a Lifetime Achievement Award recipient's reel for, I think it was 2018 or 2019? It was 2019, like the beginning of 2019. I hadn't met you yet, Patrick, but
Yeah.
it was like earlier in that year.
Yeah.
And then like I have a picture of one of my friends in the foreground and Patrick
Oh, that's
in the
funny.
background giving an interview.
Right.
And
That's like a
and he was-
Zelig thing. Yeah. Patrick's in the background of many of my photos. And
I just sneak into his house and Photoshop and replace him.
oh, okay.
my
That makes
God.
sense.
Well,
All
it's
right.
because you have blurry vision right now that you can't tell that it's been photoshopped.
Patrick, I want to come back to
Excellent.
how you select films, that you
Yeah.
want to get involved with. But first, I do want to just pivot for a moment back to a major part of the film, which is about, even though, I mentioned these two lovers, the character of, sorry about that. I told you I got two shots today for, if I
No,
can
it's okay.
remember my own name, it's a
understand.
miracle. But the character that Lewis plays, Harrison, of course, he's meets an unfortunate ending, which kind of sets this time travel thing. As Laura listens to his tape, she's transported back in time, and then it comes about how she wants to try to save his life, so to change the future. One thing that comes up here is letting go, right? She realized this is a lesson that's very hard, especially for a young person, I think, to the idea of just sort of, sometimes you have to just allow fate to take its course, and to put yourself in the hands of fate and know that things, well, I don't know if they are good or bad, they just are, and you have something personal in your life kind of inspired or was the catalyst for some of this for you. Is that, I don't know if you want to talk about it, because maybe it's too personal.
Briefly. Yeah, I mean, all stories that I plan on telling are probably going to be personal.
Right.
The whole reason that I hire certain people for certain roles is because I think that they have understood that emotion that's needed to be able to tell the story that's on the page. So yeah, I mean, I did earlier in that in 2016, I went through a difficult relationship. It was it was a tough one, but it gave me kind of insight into how it is to lose someone's familiarity slowly over time. And to me, that was a lot.
Are you talking about the connection, the bond?
Yeah,
are you talking about the bond, like that bond that you have, that you've become so used to?
Yeah, you become used to having them around, and then it's slowly dissipates, and it's not the same as it was when it started. And so going through that emotion
after the relationship is over, though, you're saying?
Yeah, after the relationship is over, it's it's one of those things that kind of sticks with you, and you have like the emotional firepower from it to be able to write something like this. And having James there was definitely helpful, because tackling time travel by yourself is just, that's wild.
Yeah, get him back on the phone. I should have asked about that. I wasted my time with Hawaii. Get him back on the phone.
If we call the main line,
is very, very complicated.
MGM, he'd be the one to answer.
Well, yeah, the time travel part of the film, which is, let's say, the middle section of the film, or crux of it it's a tangled logic thing that you have to untangle to understand, like, how this is going to work. Like, she's going back on a number of occasions in time, Laura, and she has to, like, be careful of what she does and how she changes anything, because you do the wrong thing and it can go completely the wrong direction. Your intentions, etc.
It was when we were there filming, we were there for, I think it was like 2 months. We had a 26-day shoot, and when I was working,
that's 1 month.
Well, 26 days plus the weekends, so then it adds up to 2 months or so. that was something special. And when we were done with the first week, I think Patrick was in editorial in the production office, and we were basically turning him over dailies every single day. And at the end of that week, or maybe it was the start of week 2. I think it was the start of week 2. I think I saw, my first scene that that was an emotional scene, a very important scene to the movie, the first meet. And from there, he sent me something that was like exactly what I thought the movie was in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, don't need to talk to Patrick for the rest of the shoot. And so I literally like trusted him to put this thing together, because he sent me something that was exactly what I thought I was sending him.
That's great.
So I've complimented this guy numerous times on his ability to be able to go and to be presented with a scene that has ABC in terms of order, and if the scene's too long for whatever reason, taking out B and making the scene AC. And what he has such a unique mind that can see past what was originally shot and see it from a fresh audience perspective, like an audience who is viewing this for the first time, and the ability to forgo and forget about B in the middle of this scene. And so I don't know how you do this, Patrick. Like, it's just it seems like
it's a singular skill.
Yeah, it seems like you're either born with it or it takes a very long time to learn how to do it. And it's one of the the most valuable assets, I think. Like when an editor is able to do something like that. So,
thank you.
props to you for being able to have that.
Yeah, it's just a mindset. You kind of have to just clear the mental slate and kind of go, okay, what if we just restructure this scene? What would it be like if we didn't have this? Does it make sense? Does it make sense later? Does how does that ripple through the movie? If you remove something, is there going to be a problem later?
Yeah.
So
especially with time travel, that becomes a challenge. And I think one of the things that we faced was just trying to tighten scenes a little bit, because we didn't get to test the movie, so we didn't know what an audience was going to think of it.
What do they know? What do they know anyway?
Well, I mean, they know enough to say whether or not they want to pay for the movie. So, there's a little bit.
You want them to press
that
play.
We have to give them.
You don't want them to press stop. You want them to press play.
Yes,
correct, or even rewind and then press play.
Mm-hmm, but yeah,
maybe sequel. I don't know.
Well, I think like editing holds a certain. I love just sitting and I love the idea of being an editor, but it's very intimidating because of this skill that Patrick maybe you take for granted, but like to other people, it's like, like God, assembling something like seems very, very a very specific skill set.
Being alone in a room by yourself for hours and hours, without
you have to have a tremendous amount of patience, right? You have to have a tremendous amount of patience, don't you? Like you have to be willing to really focus, right?
Because you can't get distracted by stuff. You have to just be able to go, I've got to get this done. So how do I do that? And it's always, the way I keep it fresh in my mind is I attack scenes differently. Because if I'm feeling bored, then I'll jump into the next scene and I'll go, I'm going to start at the end of the scene. I'm going to work my way backwards just to mess with my head a little bit. So, because maybe you get in a rut or you're feeling like you're not, the ideas aren't coming to you. And it's kind of like, just turn it upside down, do it backwards and see what that does. And then all of a sudden, then you can start going forwards again. It's just little tricks like that to kind of keep it fresh in my head.
Are there, I mean, there's certain films that have been out there, right? That kind of play with time and, structure, film structure, right? That are kind of famous for that. Are any of those films had an impact on you in arriving at this sort of method that you're talking about? I mean, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I used to I loved Somewhere in Time, the Christopher Reeve movie.
Well, that's another time travel movie.
Another time travel movie, and I kind of I had that in my head, that kind of romantic time travel movie for like a younger generation. I feel like this movie skews the Christopher Reeve movie was a much more mature kind of audience,
right?
But I think this movie kind of covers a wider range. I think younger people can really like it, and older people with the nostalgia can really enjoy it as well. So that's what I liked. And also, when I read it, I just I
remember what you said. I remember what you said when you were reading it.
Yeah.
You said something like, there would
about the time travel. Yeah,
about the time travel. Like, I mean, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think you said something like, you're reading along, you would find like, oh, is there going to be a problem? And then you found that there was a resolution to that problem, which,
speaks. Yeah, when I was reading the script, I always go like, I'd see an issue, I go like, oh, this is an issue with the time travel. This is how are they gonna? This is not gonna work. This doesn't work in the rules. And then all of a sudden, the next scene, it's explained, and you go, oh, he got us. He figured out how to do something surprising, but within the rules, and not tell you right away. Give you a chance to discover it later,
and then maybe like start to wonder how, and then which is nice. You build a little bit of a
it's important for an audience to like raise questions, like be completely invested where you're raising questions and saying, well, why, like, this doesn't make sense, and then they are given an answer. There's an explanation, and that allows them to get in sync with the movie a little bit and suspend disbelief. And then you have them. Then you have the audience.
Well, we start to wind things down, and thank you both guys, and thank you, Patrick, especially because not especially thank Greg, but for I'm very, very sensitive person, so I don't like to hurt other people's feelings.
No, I understand.
But Patrick, you are really my closer friend. And I what just describe real briefly, maybe, like what does go into how you choose which films you want to participate in? Is it just reading the script? Is that it? And then you can sort of.
It is. It's two things really. It's
and a time for like an empty. Like,
for sure,
in your schedule.
It has to fit in the schedule for sure. Right. But as far as picking it, it's like I have to like the material and understand it. It helps to be a little afraid too. I think fear, like oh, this is something different. Oh well, I like that motivation of like, can I do this? So that's part of it too, because when you're feeling nervous, I think that energy kind of helps you grow. So there's that, and then the people involved. If they're nice people that I see myself getting along with, that's the clincher.
Right.
You go into interviews sometimes and you meet somebody and you go like, oh man, I do not want to work with them.
Kate Hudson.
I hear she's a lovely.
No, I love Kate. No. Just kidding, Kate Hudson. Don't want to put that out there. That was just for me to get a laugh. That's all. Anyway, well, Patrick, we'll do it again soon.
Yes, absolutely.
And Greg, you too. Anytime you want to come on, anything you're working on, you're always welcome back. Please.
Would love to.
You're in the inner sanctum now. I don't know if you want to be there.
The trust circle.
Exactly. I don't know if you want to be in that circle, but anyway, thank you guys. Press Play is the name of the movie. It's directed by Greg Björkman.
Björkman, yes.
Björkman. Edited by J. Patrick DeVito. Stars Clara Rugard and Louis Pullman, Emma and Danny Glover, of course. And it is currently available pretty much any way movies are available right now. So we'll show the trailer at the top so people will get a flavor for it. But thank you guys, and it was really lovely talking to you both.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Same
Likewise.
here.
I hope you feel better.
I feel fine. Yeah,
Okay.
and you lifted my energy just talking
Okay.
to you. So thank you. All right, guys.
Bye.
Have a good night.
You too.
You too.
Thanks.